Welcome! In this video, we'll walk through the recommended hot start setup for each of the most common event types. If you're new to hot starts, we recommend starting with video 1 to learn about the 4 key settings that we'll be building on throughout this video. Self-paced and on-demand labs. This covers labs that are always available. For example, embedded on your website, in your documentation, or on a learning platform. There's no set start time. People arrive whenever they're ready. For this, you'll want to use the Always Hot option, which keeps a pool of sandboxes running around the clock. Start with 2 to 4 sandboxes and turn auto refill on. That combination handles a steady flow of visitors without you needing to step in and manage it manually. One thing to be aware of, because these sandboxes are running all the time, they do add up cost-wise over the year. It's worth checking in on your pools monthly. If a particular lab isn't getting much traffic, scaling it back or removing the pool altogether is a simple way to keep costs in check. Live workshops. This is an instructor-led session with a known start time and a group of registered participants. For your hot start type, use scheduled or invite scoped if you want to restrict access to participants joining through a specific link. Set your pool size to 65 to 70% of your total registrations. Not everyone who signs up will show up, so this keeps you from over-provisioning while still leaving room for a few latecomers. Turn auto refill off. Nearly everyone joins in the first 15 to 20 minutes, so a fixed pool size up front is all you need. Start provisioning at least 1 hour before your session, and set your end time to 15 to 30 minutes after it begins. By then, anyone who's going to join will probably have already joined. Let's take a look at a quick example. Your workshop starts at 10 a.m. and you have 100 registrations. That's 70 sandboxes, provisioning at 9 a.m., and the pool ending at 10:30 a.m., with auto refill off. One thing to avoid, don't match your pool size to your full registration count, and always set an end time. Otherwise, the pool keeps running long after your session ends. Webinars. For webinars, use scheduled or invite scoped hot starts. Webinars typically have a much larger audience than a workshop, but most people will just be watching. Only a small portion will actually click in and try the hands-on lab. Because of that, set your pool size to 20 to 30% of registrations. Turn auto refill on. You'll be presenting and won't have time to monitor the pool manually. Start provisioning at least 1 hour before, and set your end time to 30 minutes after the webinar starts, since most people who try the lab do so early on. Here's how that looks in practice. Your webinar starts at 5 p.m. with 400 people registered. That gives you a pool of around 100 sandboxes, about 25% of registrations. Provisioning starts at 4 p.m. and the pool ends at 5:30 p.m. with auto refill on. One last thing. If you want attendees to access the lab after the webinar through a follow-up email with the hot started lab, set up a small always hot pool of 2 to 4 sandboxes with auto refill on to keep it available without a large ongoing cost. Multi-day trainings. Now let's discuss programs that run across multiple days, like a certification course where the same group of people comes back for each session. The most important thing here is to create one scheduled pool per session block per day, not one pool for the whole day. If you have a morning and afternoon session, that's 2 pools. So afternoon sandboxes only spin up when you actually need them. For pool size, you can go up to 90 to 100% of enrolled participants. People who've committed to a multi-day training show up at a much higher rate than a one-off event. So sizing generously here makes sense. Turn auto refill off. Start provisioning at least 1 hour before each session, and set the end time to 30 minutes after each session begins. As the training progresses, keep an eye on attendance. If numbers drop on later days, you can reduce the pool size for remaining sessions. Since each one has its own pool, it's a simple adjustment. Conference hands-on sessions. This is a scheduled breakout or lab session at a conference with a pre-registered audience. Aim for 70 to 80% of your registered seats. So for 150 seats, that's around 110 to 120 sandboxes. Leave auto refill off, unless you're expecting walk-ins from the conference floor, in which case turning it on gives you a useful buffer. Start provisioning at least 1 hour before. More if your pool is 100 sandboxes or larger, since bigger pools take longer to build. Set your end time to 30 to 45 minutes after the session begins, as conferences tend to have more latecomers than a typical workshop. We recommend you do a quick test run the day before. Set up 1 or 2 sandboxes, claim one, and confirm the lab opens correctly. It just takes a few minutes and saves you from troubleshooting in front of a room full of people. Conference booth or expo demo. This is for conference expo demos. Visitors wander up to your booth throughout the day for a short, hands-on experience. For pool size, base it on your station count and demo length. For a 10-minute demo with 2 stations, 3 to 4 sandboxes is plenty. 1 per station with a couple ready as visitors rotate through. Turn auto refill on, since expo traffic is unpredictable, and you won't want to be monitoring sandbox counts mid-conversation. Start provisioning when the expo floor opens and set your end time to when it closes. It's tempting to go large for a conference, but booth traffic is sequential. People arrive 1 or 2 at a time, not all at once. A small pool with auto refill is really all you need. Demo for a single prospect or small group. This is for sharing a lab with 1 person or a small group, typically as part of a sales conversation. For a one-time demo, use a scheduled pool with 1 sandbox, auto refill off. Start provisioning about an hour before you share the link and set an end date a few days out. Enough time for the prospect to go through the lab without it running indefinitely. If your team sends demo labs regularly throughout the week, a small, always hot pool of 1 to 2 sandboxes with auto refill on is more practical. That way, the lab is always ready to share without creating a new pool each time. Just check in on it weekly and wind it down if things go quiet. Before we wrap up, here are 3 things worth keeping in mind for any event. First, always test beforehand. Set up 1 to 2 sandboxes, claim one yourself, and confirm the lab opens properly. It only takes a few minutes and can save you a real headache on the day. Second, make sure your lab's time limit matches your event length. Instruqt labs have a time to live setting, which is how long a session runs before it automatically closes. If it's shorter than your event, participants could get cut off and lose their progress, so it's worth double-checking every time. Third, keep an eye on things during the event. The Hot Start page shows you how many sandboxes have been claimed and how many are still available. That real-time view is useful on the day, and the data you build up over time makes it easier to size your pools even more accurately in the future. For more information on hot starts and best practices, head to our documentation page.